Hello everyone, welcome to the show for tonight, Towards the Future, where we talk about important topics as we move into the future. So, tonight's episode is about meditation. My name is Autumn Asphodel. I am a self-help coach and motivator to help you live your best life. And meditation is an extremely powerful tool to be able to help us accomplish that. So, as we wait for some people to populate here into the chat, there are many benefits to meditation, which we would talk about tonight. And feel free, during this broadcast at all, to share some of your experiences. I will be reading off some experiences at the end. And just, I want to know what benefits you've had with this wonderful tool. Okay? Because it has been amazing on my life. It's been like the number one most important thing that has helped me grow and help me learn and help me overcome many obstacles in my life. Okay? So meditation has been great. Now, just what is meditation? I think that is the first thing to discuss, because meditation can mean something different to everyone. And a lot of times when we think of meditation, we think of a person sitting cross-legged, with their hands like this on their knees, and perhaps some kind of chanting or something along those lines. That can be a very traditional way of doing it, or just not even like any chanting. You could just be silent. But just for a lot of people, that's intimidating because they don't know how to do that. They don't know anything about that. So when you see that, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Well, our bodies are naturally meant to be able to meditate and be able to deal with stress in life. The problem is that this day is there are many more distractions these days. There are a lot more distractions. We have distractions in the form of technology. We have distractions, on our phone and family and work, and we're always busy. There's never any time. I don't have time to meditate. That's a very common theme you may hear a lot of people say. Don't have time to meditate. And the thing is, there's no such thing in life as I don't have the time. What it is you haven't made the time. So that's a common excuse many of us make. We really do. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't have the time to do this. I didn't have the time to do that. No, what you did was you didn't make the time for it. So I think that's a better way of looking at it. When you look at it from a perspective of, I didn't make the time for this, then maybe you would think twice and say, okay, I need to make time for this. I have to make time for this, because that's what it's all about. And with meditation, it is so crucial to be able to make that time. It really is. So even if you just start with like 5 minutes a day, that can be very beneficial. And then you work up, or you adjust based on your schedule and just how much you need it. Sometimes what you want to do is maybe you want to do a few minutes in the morning, maybe a few minutes in the afternoon, and a few minutes before you go to bed. Okay? But dedicating that time is what is the hardest part, not the meditation. So we get upset at ourselves if we don't make that schedule for us, if we don't keep that schedule, if we say, oh, my life is too busy. We're more intimidated with the fact of setting the time to be able to do it than actually doing it, because it's not hard. Because here's the thing, our bodies naturally are able to meditate on their own, because meditation is about allowing. So what happens when you allow? It's when you let go of everything and you allow whatever thoughts and ideas and anything else to just come to you, and just let it go, and just, like you breathe in and you just let it out. You're not forcing anything to happen. You're not making anything happen. It's going to happen on its own. And a lot of people, myself included, many years ago, probably like 15 years ago when I started meditation, I was trying to force something to happen. I was trying to force the relaxation, which doesn't really make any sense, because you can't force it. It comes to you naturally. It happens naturally to you. Okay? So that is the key thing here, that meditation is about allowing stuff to happen. And this can be very intimidating also for people who may have intrusive thoughts pop up. Perhaps a lot of trauma or anxieties that you may want to block out. And that's the whole point of meditation also, to bring these things to the surface so you can address them and move on from them. Because a lot of times we numb the pain with a variety of different things. Some of us may bury our pain and just hide it within and not express it to anyone. Other people may resort to drugs to hide their pain. Like alcohol is the number one dependent that people turn to bury their pain and their fears. That is the number one. And most people, I would say probably a majority of people who would drink are for that reason, to let go and bury, their pain and suffering because they can't deal with it. So that is essentially what the role of alcohol is there in that regard. And when you bury all that pain and suffering, it's going to find some way out in some way. And meditation will allow you to uncover that and deal with it appropriately and rationally instead of destructively and abusively, whatever other negative coping mechanism you may have. Okay? So tonight we're talking about a few articles here that are quite good in regard to meditation. We'll talk a little bit about that. For anyone just joining, please feel free to share some of your experiences. I will be talking about some of my experiences at the end, and we will be going over some of your experiences as well, and we'll take a look at what you have to say regarding meditation, and I'm curious to know what your experiences are, okay? So I have 3 articles for tonight. All of them will be in the description to this video. So yeah, let's head to the first one here. Mindfulness and Relaxation schools in England sent to take part in mental health trials. So this just happened earlier this week. I saw this on Monday. Okay. This is really, really exciting stuff. Now, mindfulness, for people who don't know, mindfulness is the state of being in the present moment, to be aware of what is going on right now. So your environment, your body, it can be any number of things, okay? The schools in England are set to take part in one of the largest mental health trials in the world. That is awesome. Mindfulness exercises, relaxation techniques, and breathing exercises help regulate emotions. This is really exciting because this is for children here, young people. Now, what has been the approach to help younger people deal with their emotions? I don't really think there has been really any type of approach that has been targeted at children. Usually it's if a child is being very argumentative or destructive or doing something that is not able to control their emotions, their parents might think, oh, this kid might have ADD or some sort of mental disorder or something, and then they get put on a medication which completely will wreak havoc on their life. Or many people have testified to that, who have been prescribed medication when they're a child. But it's never been tested on children. It's not meant for children, which is very, really, really sad and scary. So, the study that they're doing here is for allow the children to be able to actually learn how to control their emotions and how to regulate them on their own. And that is what is the most exciting here, because we have all the tools we need to be able to help ourselves. We just have to know how to be able to help ourselves. Okay? So what they're going to do is run this until 2021. All right. So practical, simple advice can help young people cope with the pressures they face. Yes, that's the ultimate thing. It's very simple. It's very practical. And most of us have lost that innate skill and ability that we have because we're so lost and distracted with other things, such as technology, for example, as I mentioned. You know, technology is a major distraction that makes us get further and further away from the idea of how we even got here in the first place. We didn't evolve from technology. Technology wasn't part of our ancestors. It was they would have been able to much more effectively been able to tune in to what their bodies are saying and listen to their bodies, where now we ignore our bodies. We eat food, for example, that is very unhealthy for us, and we feel unhealthy as a result, but we don't even connect the two between our health, which is it's very surprising when you say it's like, oh, I'm so overweight, and I have all these conditions and health conditions and heart disease and diabetes. It's like, you choose the actions and you choose the consequences as a result. So if you're eating things that are not healthy, then your body is going to have some sort of side effect to that. Okay? So mindfulness practice, breathing exercises, and muscle relaxation techniques, and recognizing the importance of support networks, including among their own peers. So, as I said, this is just absolutely amazing here that they're going to be doing this here. Half of all children in care meet the criteria for a possible mental health disorder, compared to 1 in 10 children outside the care system. So this is for more like special, I guess it's care, children in some sort of a care here, and they need practically half of them meet the criteria for a mental health disorder. So being able to allow them to be able to help themselves is even more important there. Okay, so that is the first article. So that is a great first way to begin this here. Let's talk a bit more about mindfulness and how can it improve our mental health, and why is it so important? And thank you so much, Iraq, for the wonderful donation. I am so thankful for you donating, and thank you for everyone else who's also joining in here. Just now, we're talking about meditation today. Now, Iraq, you always help me continue making these wonderful broadcasts. So thank you so very much. And there's your name. There's your heart and your name. There you go. So roughly 18% of adults in the U.S. suffer from an anxiety disorder. So who here watching this right now, who has anxiety? Who has experienced anxiety? Raise your hand. Oh, hang on a minute. There we go. Raise your hand. Well, I can't see your hand, but maybe you can comment something. Like me, I have. Because I'm sure most of us have, even me. I had severe anxiety. And now, well, what's my anxiety? I don't think I really have any anxiety now. That's not to say, I'm 100%, but for the most part, I do not have any anxiety. I remember I used to be so scared going out into public and meeting new people and seeing people and getting up in front of a crowd and talking. My gosh, it was just awful. It was just, just the shivers, and that's uncontrollable shaking, and you just can't breathe properly, and just really awful. And now it's not even a thought in my mind. Now, anxiety is worrying about what is going to happen. So let's say I have anxiety before I begin this broadcast, okay? That means that my anxiety is related to, oh my gosh, am I going to do this right? Are things going to work as intended? Is everything going to look good and sound good? That's worrying about a what if. It's like, does that really matter? If I set everything up to make it look nice and sound nice and everything's the way that it should be, and, maybe it's not 100% perfect, and, I don't need to have that anxiety. Does it really matter? Am I going to be worried about, oh my gosh, how many people are going to show up? What if no one shows up? And this and that. Again, it's a what if scenario. And that what if scenario that we create in our mind, it wreaks havoc on our life, because that what if scenario is not reality. And likewise, the other way around. If you're so focused on the past, this can be contributing to depression. Because if you have depression or some sort of trauma-based disorder, you may be thinking of stuff that happened to you in the past and comparing it to what's going to happen in the future. So anxiety, depression, trauma, all of that is all interconnected there. Okay? So the fact that, 18% of adults suffer from anxiety, I think that number is much higher. to be honest. I just think that maybe 18% is more severe anxiety, that it may contribute to some sort of action taken by the individual that they're not able to accomplish something. Because how many times does anxiety stop you from accomplishing something? If you have anxiety from walking into a store, how many times do you stop yourself like, I can't go in there, my anxiety is too much? So that's why mindfulness is very important. Mindfulness can be a powerful tool in dealing with various mental health challenges and symptoms. Mindfulness means being fully aware of the facets of the body and mind, intrusive thoughts, and emotional reactions. That's what it can help with. Okay? So, mindfulness is about being present right here and now. What is going on right here and right now? So right here and right now, I'm talking to you, and you're listening to me. At least I hope you're listening. You're not distracted with something else. Okay, so that is being mindful here. We're being mindful of what's going on right now, right this very moment. We're not worrying about what's going to be coming up next, or what's going to happen next, or the next article I'm talking about. No. We're talking about right now. We're talking about this part right here. We're focused on the here and now, okay? We're not thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? You know, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about in the present moment. How do you feel? And what's going on in your mind presently? What is happening to you right now, right in this very moment? The thing is, there's no such thing as past or future. There's only such thing as present. We don't live in the future. We don't live in the past. Only our mind does, and what our thoughts. But we always live in the present. The present, the here and now, that's all that ever exists. Okay? So, when it comes to stress and anxiety, mindfulness therapy is an effective solution for stress and management. Focused relaxation of the body and mind during and after stressful events. Mindfulness practices alleviates anxiety by focusing oneself on a present state rather than worries about the future or other destructive ruminations. So, yes, that is what we just talked about here. Stress, anxiety, they can stem from past and present thoughts. Okay? Alright, chronic pain. How can this help with pain of the body? Now, I'm sure a lot of us have chronic pain as well. I know I've suffered with chronic pain. Who here has also had chronic pain? Chronic pain can also be directly linked to anxiety as well. I mean, how many times do you get anxious and then your body, you physically feel something in your body? I know a lot of times if I get too overworked and too stressed out, it just feels so really bad up in my upper body. And even after all the exercises and stretches that I do, my upper body is still very, very tight and tense. But it's much better now. I'm able to actually deal with it a lot better now, these days. I don't have as much pain as I nearly did before. Now, of course, I've also done a lot of remedies as well that I take, but also meditation and mindfulness are very, very helpful. Mindfulness makes daily trials with chronic pain more manageable. Allows the mind to observe the pain objectively and accept the sensation's role in one's life. So yes, maybe you have some kind of pain because your body's trying to tell you something. So if you keep ignoring it, as we mentioned before, when you keep ignoring it, you keep pushing it down, you keep burying it, you're not addressing the root cause. Maybe you have chronic pain, like for example me. I had chronic pain because I was too much, focused on just this, just sitting here. Maybe I had really bad posture. Maybe I wasn't taking enough breaks. Maybe I was overworking myself. That's why I had a lot of pain. And my body was trying to tell me, you gotta have a break. You need a break from this. You need to stretch more and be more active. I wasn't listening. I was just like, oh yeah. It's just, I heard that. That's what my body was telling me. But I didn't listen to it. And I paid the price as a result. So when I finally did listen to it, it took some time, but felt a lot better. Just as I do now, I feel a lot better. I'm not perfect by any chance. I don't know if I ever will be perfect, so to speak. but it's a lot better, okay? Depression. Oh, depression is right up there with anxiety. How many people have suffered with depression? Okay. How many of you had depression? I'm sure most of us have had depression as well, okay? So mindfulness leads to better control over emotions. So depression is about a variety of emotions you may have. You know, most of the time it's sadness. So you may feel very, very sad about something. You may feel that things aren't really going right in your life. I mean, even now, you know, I have dealt with a lot of depression in my life, and I've overcome a lot of that, but that doesn't mean that I don't ever get depressed. But I'm able to manage it a lot better now. So if I have a depressive episode, maybe it'll only last for, you know, a couple hours, maybe even less than that. Or maybe at its worst, maybe just a few days I'll be a little bit depressed, but nothing too severe to the point where I'm just laying in bed and not really doing anything, okay? Because I know doing something is going to help me. Whereas back in the day, it would consume me. It would be the number one thing I would focus on and do. I was just like, I'm so depressed, I can't do anything. It was very, very hard. And pushing myself just I wasn't really able to do that. Because when you tell someone to push themselves when they're depressed, push yourself to do this and that, it is possible to some degree, but for the most part, that person's not going to be able to do it. Okay? Very hard. So, with meditation and mindfulness, that can help you get a better grasp on your emotions to be able to not experience the negative ones so strong, okay? That's the positive thing there, because when you feel them so strongly and you let them control you, that's a really big problem. Same with anger. If you have a lot of anger and you let that consume, like you get angry, all of a sudden you just punch the wall, you destroy stuff in your environment, you have a very bad anger and temper. Well, meditation and mindfulness can help you get a hold of that and be able to control that better, okay? So mindfulness here can help with depression because it allows you to be present in the moment rather than sinking into the black hole of negative thoughts, rejection, and self-criticism. Yes. You know, just as I said, I've dealt with this as well. I've gone through that, but I'm able to rationalize things more. Say, okay, let me just keep trying with this. You know, the amount of times I've been so stressed about, you know, just reaching people and communicating this with people and just trying to get, it's like you're screaming so loud and you want your voice to be heard, but no one's really listening. It's like there are maybe a few people here listening, but it's like the majority of them have their back turned. They just can't hear you. They have earplugs in. That's what it seemed like, and that would always upset me so much. That would really, really upset me. So that would make me feel depressed that I wasn't able to reach, you know, people, that I wasn't able to communicate my important teachings to other people. But I said, okay, let's just try other things here. Let's try to get this going here, and let's try to make the best out of this situation as I can. So I can still be happy, even if it's something negative. So, and that's the thing to remember. You can still be happy regardless of how bad your life is or how bad you think your life is, because there's always someone worse. So, you know, people who perhaps are homeless, people who perhaps have a lot of major health issues, they would have it way worse than I would. So, and they could still be happy with their life. Okay, so happiness isn't about what you have or what you do. It's all internal. It's all in your mind, essentially. Yes, because it's, if you feel depressed, you know, why are you feeling depressed? You can help yourself get out of that depression and heal. And meditation and mindfulness is a great way to doing that. Say here a question, does nicotine addiction cause anxiety? I would say any kind of addiction, as we're moving on right down here, as you can see. I see any kind of addiction can cause anxiety. I believe nicotine helps get your heart rate up, so maybe just even that at itself can cause increased anxiety. Of course, I don't really have any personal experience with nicotine. I've never done that. But, yeah, I don't know. Okay, obsessive compulsive disorder here. OCD. A therapist can teach clients with OCD to respond with mindfulness techniques with their own thoughts and compulsions impede one's ability to feel and control of a situation. So with OCD, you're thinking a lot about something. You know, you're repeating the same task over and over again. Usually it could be to make sure that you did it right. Just myself as well. You know, my experience with this. Many times I would check something over and over and over again. If I sent a message to a friend, for example, I would have to keep checking that, and I would wake up in the middle of the night with so much anxiety because I was like, did I spell that right? Did I say that right? Are they going to hate me now because I didn't say something right? I don't care about any of that anymore because that's not a priority now. You know, I have better things to spend my time on, you know, actual meaningful things that are help me be productive. You know, like, why am I going to waste my time and spend my time on if I'm saying something wrong to someone? Now, it's a bit different if I'm, you know, if I have my scheduled posts up. Okay, let's say I'm scheduling the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram post for the week. Okay, and I schedule all them. I'm like, oh, did I make sure that this was right? Did I accidentally spell that wrong? And sometimes I will have spelling mistakes, and it's like, oh well, you know. And then I schedule the emails to go out on the newsletter from my website. Oh, spelling mistake. Oh, I don't need to really worry too much about that. Of course, I need to be as professional as I can be. That is what it's about. It's about being professional. But being to the point where it has to be 100% perfect, it's just not possible. So I'm not going to worry myself about that, okay? Substance abuse and addiction. Okay. Desire to avoid pain and discomfort is sometimes a component of substance abuse and potential relapse. Okay. Oh, Reese, yes, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully you're tuned back in another time here. Okay, so substance abuse, as we mentioned, and addiction, a lot of times it's about escapism, escaping something, escaping pain, escaping discomfort, escaping any sort of issue, okay? It's like, oh, I can't deal with this, so I'm going to take some sort of drug, or maybe smoke a cigarette. Like, ooh, you know? It's really bad. And people depend on these substances because it helps them cope better. And there are plenty of coping mechanisms that we do. Some of them are very positive, but others are very, very negative. And substance abuse and drugs of any kind, negative, okay? Continuously experiencing stimuli that provided the pleasurable feeling, and that's so essentially why. Because, for example, let's use the cigarette example as we mentioned before, okay? So if we get stressed and we, you know, decide to, you know, smoke a cigarette, the nicotine in itself, which is a very highly addictive chemical, that we can become chemically addicted to and dependent on, that gives us a feeling of relaxation, okay? It forcefully makes our body go into that state because it's a chemical reaction that's happening in our body. It's bringing about that relaxation. And on top of that, it's an addictive to begin with. So we feel so stressed out, we smoke the cigarette and we're like, I feel so much better now. Next time you get stressed out, it's like, oh, I could really go for a cigarette right now. And then you become addicted to that as the coping mechanism. You see that? So it kind of forms in that way. Now, you can reverse any coping mechanism, because I'm sure most of us have had a negative coping mechanism at some point. Some people, it may be smoking. Some people, it may be drugs. Some people, it may be eating, such as a lot of people who are obese. They could be eating to hide their pain. So they feel good when they're eating. It feels so great to them. And then when they're done, all the sadness and the suffering comes back to them. because that was their coping mechanism. And that's a very negative one, because it's like they always have to eat, and then they get a lot of health conditions, negative health conditions as a result. But there are plenty of ways to change that. And as we're talking about here, mindfulness, meditation. Practicing mindfulness helps create awareness around the root of these desires and the ability to feel negative emotions without judgment. That's the biggest thing here, because when you practice meditation, you will understand where these addictions come from, where they stem from, why they stem from where that they do, and allow you to, if you feel a negative emotion, to sit with it for a moment and go, and then just let it go, okay? Not act upon your addiction and craving. Okay? Reduce cravings that lead to destructive behavior. Rather than avoiding issues behind addiction, mindfulness encourages inquiry into specific thoughts and feelings. So as I said, that's what it's all about, understanding why you have these thoughts and feelings and why you're feeling stressed and how to cope with them positively. Mindfulness seems to be unconventional. It's an increasingly accepted method. So, as we see more and more now, back when I meditated, it was never heard about it, and now more and more things you're hearing about. Not only that, you can get apps on your phone all about meditation. Okay. Just as we say here, let's see. So, yes, we do not do those types of things here. And here's the thing, okay? So, there are many, many apps you can use, okay? And a lot of them may be paid ones, but there also are free ones. And not only that, you don't even have to use an app. There's plenty of audio on YouTube about meditation and being able to help yourself and heal from health issues and overcome them, okay? So there are many, many solutions out there. Plenty of YouTube videos. All you have to do is just search it up. Guided meditation, if you want to do guided. I always recommend starting off with guided. Even now, I always find guided to be easier for me, okay? Easier for me. Okay. Therapists who teach mindfulness techniques to their clients do so to help them cope with mental health challenges and strive for a sense of peace. So that is what this is all about. It's about finding that peace and being happy and being stress-free. You can't be 100% stress-free, but you can be a lot more stress-free than a lot of us currently are now, okay? Yes. Okay, in our last article for tonight, why meditation to help you learn better according to science. Let's get into the science of this. Obviously, there has to be some kind of science behind it, right? Let's take a look. New study says that meditation changes your brain so you can respond better to feedback. When you know how to use feedback to your advantage, you learn from your actions and become a better, more productive human. Okay. This is good, right? This is very, very good. Meditation resets your programming and rewires your brain in a good way. So what this does is essentially allows you to, it changes how your brain is coping, how your brain is changing in some way to be able to cope with stress. The thing is, any action that you do in your life, it is going to have an effect on your brain in some way. It's going to change how your brain is wired. Okay, so it's like going down a tunnel here. If you keep going down, the same tunnel, that is how your life normally is. And it's a very destructive way, let's just say it's a really, really bad tunnel. Okay? That doesn't mean you can, that you can't change that, because you can change that. You can back out of that. Well, not really back out, you just slowly begin to change that and go in a different direction that's much more positive. Meditation and learning. People who meditated were more successful in selecting pairings that resulted in greater reward. So that is what it was talking about here. So people who meditated were able to choose options for them that were much more positive for them and much greater in the long run. And they're also less effective by negative feedback. And this is done by EEG. People who meditate were able to better bounce back and adapt to feedback in order to make informed decisions. So if you're really thinking about, if you're really thinking about an action, let's say you have a choice. It's a big choice. Let's say maybe it's like a job move, okay? And you're going to change careers even, okay? That's a tough one, right? You really need to think about it. You really need to think about it. Some people may not think about it at all. Some people, it's very impulsive behavior. So, some people may just impulsively act on whatever decision that comes to their mind without really much any thought. Okay? You're not really thinking it fully through. Other people may be very indecisive and not know what to do, okay? In the complete opposite. Just, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And then, if you meditate and you sit on it and you really weigh the risks and the benefits to this decision that you're making, you can form a much better idea of what's really going on. A lot of times, I'll say this, if I am thinking about something, if I need to really figure out an answer to something, having some peace and quiet and just really thinking and just relaxing and allowing thoughts and ideas to come to me versus thinking, it's one thing to write like a list of benefits and disadvantages of whatever action, but it's another thing to just sit and relax and just allow whatever thoughts to come to you. Because when you allow those thoughts to come to you, you will get things that you weren't even thinking about. You will get things come up like, oh, I never even thought about that option. That makes me not want to do that option. So with me, when I'm making a decision, it's a lot of the research that I can do and thinking things through, as well as sitting with my decision and thinking, okay, what are some of these pros and cons here, and just allowing whatever ideas to come into my mind. Dopamine impacts the way people learn and process information, and meditation increases dopamine levels. So that can help you figure out some things in your life. Meditation rewires your brain so you're better equipped to deal with positive and negative feedback. Let's talk about that. That's really important. How many of us can't stand negative feedback, even if it's constructive criticism? Do we even consider anything constructive criticism? More and more people these days are becoming more and more sensitive to things. They can't even stand, just like a word now. They just get so upset and so triggered and so offended at so many different things that just aren't important at all. It's just not important, but they get so worked up. I've seen, huge articles, people complaining about one small little thing because they're so worked up over it, because they don't know how to deal with negative feedback. And this negative feedback wasn't even directed at them. It was an action someone made. It was someone said something else that they found offensive. It's very silly, because there's no need to have all that. We can have our own opinions about things, absolutely. But when we're taking so much offense and it's impacting our life to the point where everything is offensive, then we really have a major issue in our life that we need to correct. And this major issue is that we can't cope properly. We don't know how to handle negative feedback. How many of us know people like that? Back when I was younger, there really wasn't people like that, but now there's so many people like this, and it's very sad, because we're getting further and further away, as I said, from what makes us calm and peaceful, and what makes us truly be able to act accordingly with our emotions properly. Yeah. Meditation literally changes areas of your brain associated with complex thought, bodily awareness, concentration, and problem solving. So you can have increased focus by helping you filter out distractions or mind wandering, reduce stress and anxiety, improve cardiovascular health, and improve sleep quality. Sleep is another important one as well. Same with focus. Let's talk about specifically focus and sleep. Again, how many people do you know, or even yourself, who gets distracted so easily? Who can't stay focused? I've had so many people tell me, it's, your videos are a bit boring. They're too long. And it's like, when I was making those shorter videos, they were under 10 minutes long. It's like, is that really long? We're talking about, if you watch a movie, that's like an hour and a half long. If you watch a TV show, that's a half hour long. If you watch a short TV show, that's like, 12 minutes long. And my videos are really long, and really you can't focus that long. So people are so distracted. Why are we so distracted? Because we have such busy lives, and we can't make a good schedule for us to be able to have all these things in our life. What we do instead is if we multitask. Multitask is not focusing on one thing. Okay? Multitasking is not, it can't, it is focusing on productivity of multiple things, but you can't give your all to an individual task if you're multitasking. Oh, well, thank you so much, Zach. I do appreciate the donation. Thank you so very, very much. So focusing on a task. Did you see that? That was a distraction right there. It was a positive distraction. I'm very, very thankful for Zach. But that is the type of, that's a distraction that all of us go through sometime in life. We're distracted. Oh, notification. Let me check my phone here. Okay? How many times do you hear that notification go off on your phone? And you have to check it immediately. You have to. No, you don't have to. You choose to. And it's so many other things as well. We're not really focused anymore in life. We're so distracted by so many different things. There's so much stimulation all around us. Okay? I think there was something else I wanted to mention about that, but it's escaping me at the moment. Sleep quality. This is also very important because, again, let's go back to the example with the phone, okay? How many of us use our phone until bedtime? How many of us are laying in bed, on our phone here, doing our thing? Oh, time for bed. Okay? You're not even giving yourself a chance to relax. And you have like this bright screen, this very bright, here, just turn it up. Turn that off too. This very bright blue light, as you can see. It's so bright. It's so bright. Okay? Most phones these days have an option now. Mine is called night shift. So what does it do? Look, watch, let's see. Let's see what it does, shall we? When I hit that? Oh, darn it, I can't do it. Okay. There you go. It turns into like an orange color. Do you see that? So it makes it easier on the eyes. How many of us turn that on our iPhone or on our Android device? I mean, it's even on our computers now. My Mac computer right now, it's orange right now. Windows has the option. I think that one's called Night Light. There's many different options that come on the operating system now. If you have an older operating system, I always recommended Flux to use that, and that can help you if you're going to use your computer late at night, even though you shouldn't. But if you have to, then that is the way to go. Okay, that's the way to go. Because when we don't give ourselves enough time after, like, when we're ready to go to sleep and we're on our phone, yeah, Okay. Let's continue on. So, meditation app, free guided meditation practice. Yes, as we mentioned. Because if you're addicted to your phone and you can't get away from it, then why not just download an app and just use your phone as it is, okay? Use it for something more positive than scrolling through your feeds and messages and all that stuff, okay? Consistency is most important. Yes, consistency is very important, okay? When you're consistent with it, you can overcome many obstacles, and you can be dedicated and be focused and not give up. Form a habit based on what works for you and your schedule. That's the ultimate thing. Don't force anything, especially not initially, because then you're going to be turned away from it. Focus on what works for you. If all you have one day is 5 minutes, then dedicate that 5 minutes. Just as here, 2 to 5 minutes a day. Work up to 20 minutes, then begin till it begins to feel like a habit. So that is what you want to do. You want it to be consistent. You want there to be habit forming, and you want to do it at specific times. So let's say you do it right when you first wake up every morning, or before you go to bed every night. Whatever works best for you. You have to find, what works best for you, and you have to go around what you've already done and how you can get there, okay? So I would like to share a little bit about my experience, and I would like, if anyone wants to share their experiences, I will share that on the broadcast here, okay? So, let me see here, okay. All right, so my experience with meditation has been quite a long one, to be honest. I've been doing meditation for, I guess, about 15 years, okay? I am about to be 29 at this point. I started when I was, oh gosh, probably like 12 or 13, okay? So we're talking about, about 15 years. Now, when I started meditation, well, guess what? I was not good at it. No, I was not. I was very focused on, forcing something to happen. I wanted something to happen. It's like, this has to happen or else I'm going to be just so upset and so angry here. Okay? Well, that wasn't the right way to go about it, and it took me a very long time to be able to figure that out. But once I did, I was able to actually make a lot of progress with my meditation. And meditation has been the #1 key to overcoming a majority of my problems. So I've been able to uncover what's really going on and be able to help myself and overcome those obstacles. So all the trauma, all the depression, all the anxiety, all that has been through uncovering the source of where it came from, facing that, and overcoming that. Every single thing has been through self-realization and dedication to be able to get to my ideal self. And that's what most people don't understand. And that's what a lot of people say, well, you are a fraud, you are fake. All these things that you've claimed, they weren't actually real for you. You've never been through any of this trauma and abuse. You've never had these disorders and this and that. And because they're saying that only because I was able to work on them and overcome them. And they don't know how to do that. Most people probably don't know how to do that. But our mind and our brain, it's meant to be able to do that. It's able to heal on its own. That's the ultimate thing. If there's something wrong physically with our body, it will heal on its own. If there's something wrong mentally, it's the same thing. It can heal on its own. It's just about giving it the right tools. What are these tools? There are many tools. Meditation being an amazing tool for that accomplishment, but also just what you put in your body and respecting your body. The foods that you eat. All very, very important. They're all very important. Okay, so that is why it's so important to be able to do some sort of meditation practice and uncover who you really are and figure out what you need to do to be the best version of yourself. So my meditation practice now, here's the thing about meditation, okay? Meditation doesn't have to be sit down, quiet your mind, and let things go. Meditation could simply be that you are doing something that completely focuses your mind on something, and it's something that is relaxing and positive for you. So I always say this, meditation doesn't have to be sitting down, closing your eyes, and focusing on nothing. It doesn't have to be that at all, okay? Meditation could very well be just you maybe listening to music, and maybe even like I used to listen to music and visualize like a music video for that track. Maybe that was a form of meditation. Or maybe if you play a game and you feel relaxed and you feel free from stress and it's a positive thing for you and you're focused just on the game, maybe that's a form of meditation. So there are many, many, many sources that can help you, and everyone is different. Okay? You got to remember, is it positive for you? Is it healthy for you? Okay? That is the ultimate thing to take away. All right. And yes, indeed, Lisa, that is very true. Bad food can make your mind spin and not be able to meditate properly. Another tip about food is that with meditation, if you try to meditate after you eat food, a lot of times you may not be able to do that. Sometimes it's sometime afterwards, but yeah. And I want to thank Iris as well. Thank you for the positive words. So if anyone would like to share their experiences, even just a little bit, like say how much meditation has helped you, let's say, that would be wonderful to hear. So why don't we do a brief meditation to close this off, okay? Let's try this now, okay? So, how should we go about this? So, let's just focus for a moment and just take a few deep breaths, because that's like one of the easiest things we can do. So, hold it. And then let it go. And just that one breath for me is much more calming. Do it again. Hold it. Okay. Do you feel any different just from the two? Let's try a third one. Hold it. Sometimes that's all you need, is just a brief moment of relaxation. Now, how long did that take that I just did that? Did that just take a minute? And how much different do I feel? I feel a lot more relaxed and focused now. Okay, and I hope you do as well. That was just a minute. That was just a minute. So that's a positive coping mechanism you can do. Like, oh, I'm feeling kind of stressed. Pause from whatever you're doing. Do that a few times, and then you'll feel better. And have that be the condition. Okay? Have that be the conditioning of overcoming the obstacle. Okay? All right. So that is wonderful, Iris. I'm glad that that all that has been able to help you. Okay. So I want to thank everyone so very much for tuning in tonight. If you have any final words, feel free to say them now. I also want to thank E-Rock and Zach for contributing and donating, as well as everyone else who came and tuned in. So I have plenty of ideas for this show as well, because yeah, a lot of you have given me ideas, and if you want to ever give me any ideas, just let me know in some way. Just send me a message somewhere, like on Facebook or Twitter or any kind of social media. Just let me know of what are the topics you would want to hear. I can't get around to all of them, obviously, but I try my best. And these broadcasts here are always fun. Okay. Now I do invite you to, as we do every Friday night after this broadcast here, in about 2 hours at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, I usually do a gaming live stream on my Twitch channel, which I'm going to link right now. So if you want to come and join me in about 2 hours, feel free to do that. I am hosting. I usually host, people that I follow. So if you go there and there's someone already there, I will be live at some point. You can also check me out on automaster.com/live. That is the new live page that I created on my website that has this stream on it, as well as my Twitch stream on it as well, okay? So you can just go to that page anytime and you'll be able to see if I'm live on either of the two. Okay? So, yes, feel free to do that. And if you come and join me, I will see you again in just a couple of hours. And yeah, this was great, and I will catch you all again. If you don't come to the gaming stream, I'll catch you all again some other time. So, okay? So you all have a good rest of your night, and I will talk with you all later. Bye-bye.